The holographic display flickered in the sterile chamber of the Galactic Council, showing a dying world wrapped in toxic clouds. Ambassador Veltar of the Hegemony adjusted his crystalline exoskeleton as he addressed the assembly. Kepler 442b is beyond salvation. His translated voice echoed through the chamber. The industrial collapse has rendered the atmosphere toxic. Sulfur dioxide levels exceed survivability thresholds by 400%. The native population has retreated to underground bunkers, but their life support systems are failing. We estimate complete extinction within 72 standard cycles. Murmurs of resignation rippled through the gathered species. The Zephyrians fluttered their gossamer wings nervously, while the rock-like Gorvani simply stood silent, their ancient wisdom heavy with the weight of another lost world. The evacuation fleet cannot penetrate the atmospheric storms, continued Veltar. Our most advanced environmental suits fail within hours. The electromagnetic interference prevents long-range transportation. The Council hereby declares Kepler 442b a dead world and suspends all rescue operations. That's when the human spoke up. Not yet. Every sensor and optical organ in the chamber turned toward the modest figure in the corner. Captain Sarah Chen, the sole human representative, stood slowly from her simple metal chair. Her species was still new to the galactic stage, barely 2 centuries since first contact, but something in her voice made the ancient beings pause. With respect to the Council, Chen said, her words carrying across the vast chamber, humans would like to volunteer for the rescue mission. A sound erupted that might have been laughter if it came from any single species, but the combined vocalizations of a dozen alien races created something closer to a discordant symphony of disbelief. Captain Chen, Veltar's tone carried the patience reserved for explaining simple concepts to children. Your species lacks the technological sophistication for such an operation. The environmental challenges alone would kill most of your people, yes, Chen interrupted politely. But humans are remarkably difficult to kill. She stepped forward, activating her own holographic display. Images of Earth flickered to life. Hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, Arctic wastelands, deep ocean trenches. My species evolved on what many of you would consider a death world. We survived ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and our own tendency toward self-destruction. Our ancestors walked out of Africa with nothing but stone tools and spread across every continent, every climate, every ecological niche our planet offered. The display shifted to show human settlements in impossible places, research stations in Antarctica, deep-sea habitats, orbital platforms around Jupiter's radiation-soaked moons. Your atmospheric analysis shows sulfur, dioxide, particulate matter, and electromagnetic interference, Chen continued. My great-grandmother lived through the London smog of 1952. My grandfather worked in the sulfur mines of Indonesia. I myself spent 3 years maintaining equipment in the radioactive exclusion zone around Chernobyl. The chamber had fallen, silent except for the steady hum of life support systems. You say the temperature extremes are unsurvivable, she pressed on. Humans regularly work in environments ranging from -40 to +60 Celsius. You mentioned the lack of oxygen. We've been free-diving to depths where oxygen becomes toxic, and we've built entire cities at altitudes where there's barely enough air to breathe. Fleet Admiral Korth of the Unified Systems, a being resembling a massive crab crossed with a tree, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Even assuming your species could somehow survive the surface conditions, the technological, barriers remain insurmountable. Our most advanced ships cannot maintain stable flight in those electromagnetic storms. Chen smiled, an expression that still unsettled many alien species with its baring of teeth. Admiral, human pilots learned to fly in wooden aircraft with fabric wings. We navigated by stars and magnetic compasses before we had computers. We landed on our own moon using technology less sophisticated than what your average civilian transport carries. She manipulated the display again, showing archived footage of early human space missions, cramped capsules held together with rivets and determination, astronauts working in bulky suits with limited life support, engineers solving life or death problems with improvised solutions. You see obstacles, Chen said. We see Tuesday. The silence stretched longer this time. Finally, the ancient voice of High Counselor Mordes, eldest of the Eternal Archive, spoke from her position at the chamber's apex. What do you propose, young human? Give us one ship. Something simple, reliable, with minimal electronic systems. We'll use mechanical controls, chemical rockets, and human navigation. We'll wear pressure suits designed to function in extreme environments. We've been making them for 600 years. We'll land using parachutes and pure mathematics. The way we always have. And once on the surface, pressed Veltar, we walk, we carry what we need. We find the survivors and we get them to safety one by one if we have to. We've evacuated entire cities from natural disasters using nothing but boots on the ground and the refusal to give up. The debate that followed lasted hours. Species that had witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations argued with beings who measured time in geological epochs. But in the end, it came down to a simple truth that every species in that chamber had learned over millions of years of evolution. Sometimes the most primitive solution is the most effective. 72 hours later, a converted human cargo vessel descended through the toxic storms of Kepler 442b. Its hull was scarred by sulfuric acid, its communications array destroyed by electromagnetic interference, but its human crew emerged from their crash landing with emergency beacons, medical supplies, and an unshakable determination to bring everyone home. 6 months later, Ambassador Veltar watched the last transport lift off from Kepler 442b's surface, carrying the final group of survivors to safety. The human rescue teams had evacuated 12,000 beings from 17 different underground complexes, working in conditions that should have killed them 100 times over. As the ships departed, leaving the dying world to its toxic fate, Veltar found himself standing beside Captain Chen in the observation deck of the relief station. How? He asked simply. Chen looked out at the poisoned planet below, then at the fleet of refugee ships carrying survivors to new homes among the stars. Your species look at a hostile environment and ask, "How can we avoid this?" she said. Humans look at the same environment and ask, "How can we survive this?" She turned to leave, then paused. The difference, Ambassador, is that we never learn to declare anything impossible until we've tried it at least 3 times. As the human walked away, Veltar made a note in the official record. Recommendation: in future impossible rescue scenarios, consult humans first. The Council had declared the planet dead, but humans, as they had shown throughout their brief but remarkable history, simply refused to accept that some things couldn't be done. After all, they had learned long ago that impossible was just another word for Tuesday.